As a man, obviously, I support my gender, and I am very proud of my brothers and a lot of the work that we do in the world. But I believe that women react to situations like yours in a way that's different from a man, and that's not to say all men or all women. But do you think there's a way that a woman would have addressed the issues that you face that a man would have differently?
I mean, I'm with you. You can't really stereotype or generalize. However, that being said, men, research and science shows that men do think in a more linear fashion and women are much more collaborative. Is that a function of the fact that we're mothers and we can't, wear all hats and that we don't have time to reinvent the wheel and we have to rely on each other? I do think that's part of the function. At the same time, we've all been part of this system failure. We've seen it in a Gulf oil spill. I mean, we've all been driving cars for years, really, without questioning our addiction to that fuel. And the same thing. I mean, I was really very content with convenient products where I didn't have to cook, where I thought I was saving time, not realizing that I was paying a price for that in the health of my kids. And so, again, it's really stepping back and saying, there's a system here that we've all been part of, and that in order to restore it and fix it and bring it to a new level, we can all be part of that solution.
And I also think food is such a big part of nourishment, which is really our life force. And as I think of sort of the feminine, which provides and gives us life, and Mother Earth, which provides us food and gives us life, I think you're in a topic and an issue that is at the very nature, right there with water, of our very survival. Do you have thoughts on that?
Absolutely, and I think, especially as women, I mean, we grew up marketed to, there was manufactured demand for everything from artificial fat-free cookies to diet sodas. We were promised that it was going to get us into our collective skinny jeans, and we swallowed all of that. That's what we wanted to hear, and we believed, and I mean, boy, I believed. But then when you suddenly step back and you think, we're putting all of these chemicals into our bodies, and we don't know what the compound effect of those things are. No studies have ever been done to see what this chemical cocktail can do, not only to the health of a child, but, to all of us big kids too. And so, when you step back and you say, okay, in order to really nourish my children, I'm going to give them the best food that I can afford at this point in time and make the best choices. And in order to really nourish my own body, I've got to do the same thing. But, in all candor, Lewis, one of my greatest challenges was stepping back and saying, am I worth that? Am I worth that? I've got to decide that I am worth nourishing my body so that I can be here to do what needs to be done for my kids and help them, get the world that they deserve.
I'm sure your life has just been completely turned around in a lot of circles, and with your whole family. I mean, can you speak as a role of a woman in managing what's now really a budding little corporation that's growing with grassroots all over the country, I'm sure?
Well, I didn't get into it to grow a budding corporation, and so we've channeled this into the Allergy Kids Foundation.
Right.
And it has presented enormous challenges. Obviously, as a mother of 4 children between the ages of 5 and 10, the time that is required and the juggling act that is required is enormous. Thankfully, like I said, I've learned how to take really good care of my body, so I run like a pretty efficient machine. So I'm up, really early, a lot of mornings writing, and I love that time, that clarity, that space, the ability to really get my thoughts down before the house starts to move and shake. And then at the same time, it really did challenge some pretty hard set belief systems that my husband and I both had. I was raised in a conservative family in the South, and very much of the mindset that I should be home doing all of the domestic tasks at hand, and that my husband is the one out as the earner. And together, as we really confronted those belief systems and grew into these new roles, there were obviously growing pains for both of us, and the communication that was required to navigate that was constant, and it still is. But at the same time, I am so grateful to be of service, because I think, as there are so many days where we read the headlines and we simply don't want to know anymore. You just don't want to know how bad it is out there. And so to be given the opportunity to be part of the solution, to do something that is so enormously important and fulfilling, is just a gift for which I am so grateful.